situation was bad, and I knew that Visa and Mastercard have been censoring for quite a bit now for the past few years, but to see a list compiled of all the sites, companies, and businesses that are affected by Visa and Mastercard, the dual monopoly, it's actually staggering. Like, this is a legitimately staggering list, and I know not everything that is listed here is strictly Japanese. There's like a few that stand out, but overall, pretty much every single thing, over 90% of the stuff on this list, is basically just Japanese sites or businesses or companies operating in Japan. And it's insane. It's actually insane how this has been ongoing pretty much since the early 2020s, and there has been next to no pushback. Maybe silent pushback, maybe there was pushback at one point, but it got basically doused in flames and silenced. It's very likely. But what I'm trying to say is the fact that there has been so many major sites that has been affected, like even Nico Nico to, obviously Melon Books, DL site. I mean, you see, Manga King affected, Manga Library. It's pretty bad. Like, the situation obviously has escalated quite a bit. And like I said, it is shocking, just the lack of conversation around this. However, it does seem that a lot more people are trying to talk about it. It does seem like people are trying to spread awareness of this, and it's very clear that the Japanese, industry, or people in Japan, are actually becoming aware of this. They are becoming aware of this dual monopoly from Visa and Mastercard. And I talked about this yesterday when it came to the canary in the coal mine. When you allow something to be censored or happen, it eventually will lead to more things happening. It'll get a lot worse. For instance, if people allow content that you deem unsatisfactory or you don't like to be censored, one day content that you actually do like is going to be censored. Because where is the line? Where does it stop? For instance, if adult content for anime, manga, and games is censored, where's the line to where they might trickle it down into regular mainstream shows? Like, for instance, people that love their shonen series, like, what's stopping them from banning something like Naruto, Dragon Ball, Bleach, One Piece? Because, let's be fair here, there is fan service content within that. And if they want to argue that this content needs to be censored, it will eventually trickle down into anime and manga as well, because there is definitely some fan service-like content. But I'm getting a little bit off topic. What I'm trying to say is that yesterday this news came out that another site was affected, and I was doing a little bit of digging, and as you saw at the beginning of this video, I looked at basically an entire list of stuff that has just been outright censored or forced to terminate payment processing companies because, they have to remove content, and it's absolutely sickening. What I showed you at the beginning of this video was actually from this Japanese article here that compiled the list. I'll have it linked in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. You might have to put it through translation apps or whatever to be able to read it, like what I did. But what I'm trying to say is that, I am absolutely in shock, just the lack of response that I've seen people have towards this. I mean, I found out about this literally last year, and it's crazy that I'm still one of the only few people that is actually actively talking about this in the content creation space. This is bad, and let's get into what they are censoring, okay? So let's just keep it 100% real with everyone. I'm going to be completely transparent on what they're going after. So these companies, okay, or Visa and Mastercard, are censoring these sites because they have adult content on them. Basically, these credit card companies believe that they should be able to stop you from using your money how you like. For instance, the company that is just meant to be a vessel for your money is trying to stop actual legal adults from buying legal adult content. That's kind of messed up when you put it in that perspective, but also, let's look at it a little bit deeper. The reason why Visa and Mastercard are very heavy on Japan as of late, even though they obviously are hypocrites, because I showed that article yesterday about how they let the stuff on OnlyFans happen, and they completely just, let it happen for years up to literally 2024 and 2025. It really showcases that they don't actually have any moral ground to stand on. And what is that moral ground? Well, what they try to argue is brand protection. They try to argue that, for instance, content that is fictional, that could be deemed maybe sus or messed up or problematic, needs to basically be completely just destroyed, stopped, and they will not allow payments for that content whatsoever. And if this is something they retroactively did for all forms of content, for instance, if Visa and Mastercard did this for everything, fictional content, non-fictional content, everything, when it came to, let's say, OnlyFans as well, I would be like, okay, at least they are keeping their moral standing intact. But it's very clear that they care more about fictional content than actual real people being harmed. And I've already showed the article before. It's very apparent what what their priorities are. So what it really does come down to is that this is just straight up an antitrust lawsuit waiting to happen, and it doesn't just feel racist, it is racist. Like, this is straight up an attack on Japan, trying to stop the Japanese public from being able to do what is legal within their country and crippling businesses in the process. Here's the problem with this entire situation. A lot of these businesses in Japan heavily do rely on VISA and Mastercard. I remember one site a while back, I remember reading an article, it was like, I remember finding an article for 2022, and apparently one of the sites in question that was on the list I showed, they had like 50% of their payments relied on Visa and Mastercard. And when they effectively pulled out that payment, it pretty much crippled the site. Like, imagine overnight you lose 50% of your revenue because of these card companies. Well, you know what that means? Well, you're either going to close shop, you're going to censor yourself, or you're going to have to fire a lot of people to downsize if you allow it to happen. So it's a lot. It's a bad situation overall, and a lot of these businesses are basically getting the rug pulled out from underneath them because they do rely on these payment processes. They rely on people even overseas to buy products, and people that come in, tourists, whatever. But obviously, if this continues to happen, it is destroying these businesses. And people saying that you could just pirate, that's not the answer here. This is a completely different subject matter. This is stuff at the source in Japan, and as this trickle-down effect continues to happen, and these businesses keep getting hurt, it's going to eventually affect the actual authors, the writers, the animators. It's going to affect people in Japan that creates the said content, because if they can't sell the content anymore because of Visa and Mastercard, then the content is going to effectively have to change to be able to even be accepted by Visa and Mastercard, which is a systematic domino effect. That is the worry here. That is the damage, the actual danger in the review mirror, or not even in the review mirror, the danger that is straight ahead, that everybody is completely going towards and not realizing it at this point. It is a bad situation, and it is stunning how many people are not talking about this. I really, really hope as this continues to happen, I don't want it to continue to happen, but it's going to. I hope eventually some big content creator, way more massive than me, picks this up and really does a deep dive and dives into all this and talks about it, because this needs to see the limelight. It's really just upsetting how there is so many people willfully happy and jumping in glee that this content in Japan is being censored, when it's definitely going to trickle down to so much more. It's affecting games now. It's affecting manga. It's affecting anime. It's going to get worse. It will continue to get worse. If something is not done, if a line is not drawn, it's going to get worse. And the fact that these companies can actually get away with this and just do it is insane. So much corruption on display, and yeah, I don't know. I was just, like I said, I'm making this video to do more of a deep dive to spread, once again, more awareness to the situation, because it is bad, and I think people need to be aware of this. But I love you guys. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.